Welcome back, viewers, to Dawn of the First Day! Okay, so like everything else, we gotta slow down time briefly, because we kinda need as much time as possible. Now, for those who have been curious about how I'm gonna do this, I'm going to grind up the 5,000 rupees that I need for the heart piece over here in Clocktown off-screen. The reason being is because 5,000 rupees takes an ungodly amount of time to grind up, even when maxing out your wallet every single 3-day cycle. There we go. Arrows. Always love them arrows. Actually, I need... There we go. And a fairy. Always love them fairies as well. Alright. I just wanted to come over here so I can get me some arrows, because you actually do need the arrows. You do need the bow and arrows to get into the next area. And the reason why people believe you have to beat the dungeons in order to get to the next area is because you need the items from said dungeon. But no, you just need the items from said dungeon. You don't have to beat the boss in order to get the item. So, yeah. Just take it from me, viewers. You don't need to beat the dungeon to get to the next area. Speaking of which, I should probably equip the bow and arrow if I'm going to the next area. Alright, so I'm definitely going to try and get through the entirety of the next dungeon within the first day cycle, because there is something that you can only do in Snowhead Mountain from the first day. Ooh. Screw it, I'm getting closer. Anyways, yeah, like I was saying, you can only do certain things, and you can only do a certain thing in Snowhead Mountain if you do it on the first day. And one of those things is... Well, I'm not going to spoil it quite yet. And since we're over here, I'm going to need my bomb mask. I love the bunny hood. I honestly do. By the way, something a bit funny. If you set a bomb off next to one of these things, it becomes a rocket. Alright, so the real reason why I wanted the bomb mask equipped is so that way we can blow these up without having to buy bombs. That's why I like the bomb mask. It acts as the bomb, but rechargeable. Sure, it takes a couple seconds for it to recharge, but it shouldn't really hold too much matter in the way of doing things. Okay, so welcome to Mountain Village, where we will immediately be interrupted potentially by a guy of guyness. Nope, he ignored me, which is grande. So, like usual, when we get to a new area, go on and unlock the owl statue. I'm going to be ignoring that house for the time being because that is the blacksmith house. That... we can't do anything there for the time being. Just take my word for it, viewers. And then there's Tingle. I'll be back to him later to pick up his map. As for right now, I don't need it, so I'm not gonna get it. And welcome to Goron Village, where it's all frozen over. How you doing, baby? Hope that was a girl. Okay, so the real reason why we're here is because of this fucking Zubora Gabora. I hate you, Owl! Yes, I would like to proceed. Now, this owl will fly around and drop his feathers on invisible platforms. Obviously, we use these platforms to jump on across. And as you can see, they're very slippery, so you gotta be careful about that. And the feathers do disappear after a few seconds, so you also gotta be careful about that. And so, for following Zubora Gabora, we get led to a random-ass shrine with bugs in it. But more importantly, a treasure chest as well. My leg's asleep. And so we get the Lens of Truth, an item that we got in the first game, but only halfway through. This one, we're not quite halfway through. Now then. Be careful in this area, by the way, viewers. There are invisible Skulltulas. I just want to blow that up so that way I can get me a 50 rupee, and thereby also be able to go get the Tingle Mask. That's why I didn't bother getting it or going back to the bank to get money for it, because I knew I could pick it up an easy 50 rupees there. And so, by making it back across, if you notice, there's a floating Goron here. Yes, I can. So we need to follow this guy. Now, he's actually real easy to follow even without the Lens of Truth on. Yeah, you can see his shadow. Or if you know where he's going, you can just run straight ahead of him, but you gotta be careful because you can... If you run too far ahead of him, he'll stop. And that can be kind of annoying because you'll just be standing there at the entrance. And he'll just be stopped. And once it gets up to another entrance, just pop your Lens of Truth back on to advance it to the next area. Yeah, pretty simple. We gotta do it for all three of these areas. I will, however, take a quick reprieve from following this guy to go get Tingle. By the way, those Wolfos, I believe is what they're called, those, I don't know why people have trouble fighting those guys. And I'll explain why in a little bit. Just for right now, let me pick up my goddamn map. Which map would you like to buy? Snowhead Mountain or Romani Ranch, not Lon Lon. And so we get the Snowhead Mountain map. Just 2 maps to go before having them all. Okay, now I'm going to show off why I don't find these guys hard. Just poke them in the butt. It does double damage. Yeah, that's all you have to do is poke them in the butt, and they'll do it, and it'll do double damage to them. I've never understood why people found those guys so hard to defeat. Because literally, that's all you have to do is just poke them. They will almost always do a double attack. And so we got a mountain to climb. A way you can conserve on magic when using the Lens of Truth is rapidly tapping the button, but since I've got full magic, I'm just going to leave it on. It's not like I really ever use too much magic anyways. Actually, I'll be using quite a bit of magic here in a little bit because of the item in the next dungeon. I need to unlock 2 things outside the dungeon. But what's funny is you can actually climb the entirety of this just off of memory. You just gotta remember the land markings. And so he's standing there. As you can imagine, we're gonna need to do something with the, there we go. Since this is actually a main mask we're getting, one of the transformation masks, I'm actually going to be doing the dialogue with them. Because it's actually... I like the reasons why their souls are still bound to the world. This one, obviously, he's lamenting the fact that he's dead. But I may skip over some of their dialogue, like Kamaro, but that's because it's not a transformation mask. It's just a regular mask that gets you a heart piece. It's not something I'm going to be using again after the heart piece. Alright, so time to heal his soul. In dialogues, whenever you see heal in red, basically just do the Song of Healing. What an adoring crowd. And then his nipples spread glitter along the world. I don't know why. And so, for healing the tortured Goron soul, he leaves us with the mask. When equipped and then put on, it transforms us into the Goron. And as his as his last request anyways, he asks us to assist in his village renewal. So we can, as a Goron, read the inscription on his thing which tells us how to fight as a Goron. But I already know how to fight as a Goron. There are just a couple things you need to know beyond B is punch. And the Goron is basically the Megaton hammer of the game. So you got punch, punch, and butt. And then you also got curl and pound as an attack. But as curled, you also can roll, which after a given amount of time will basically speed up and allot you something kind of awesome. I'll see if I can show it off here in a few seconds once we get out of here. I want to get this dialogue out of the way because he's going to interrupt me no matter what. Now, I want to get as far back as possible. There we go. And boom! Yes! If you roll for long enough, you will grow spikes and gain a lot of speed. Presumably because it gives you a lot of traction. You're a lot better off if you... Whoops! Did not mean to do that. Like I was saying, you will be a lot better off in trying to do that in snow because you kind of stay stationary, therefore it's a little bit easier to... Anyways, therefore it's a little bit easier to stuff. See? One shot. If I would have attacked him from the front, it would have taken 2 hits. And this is the reason why I went ahead and poured the water on that ice instead of where you're actually supposed to pour it. And you know what? This water is totally useless for the time being. Actually, you know what? This water is not totally useless for the time being. I'm gonna go on and go back to the blacksmith. Wait, no, I can't do that. Because I need 100 rupees to do that. Basically, in the first day, you want to take your sword to the blacksmith. They will then upgrade your sword to level 2. But it's got 100 swipes until it degrades back to level 1. If by the time you beat the first dungeon and do the minigame that you can do, or beat the second dungeon and do the minigame that you unlock after beating the second dungeon, your sword is still at level 2, you can then upgrade it to level 3. Some people say that the upgrade is actually a permanent version of level 2, but this actually is not the truth, viewers. I've done my own personal testing. The level 2 sword, the razor blade, or razor sword or whatever, does 2 damage as opposed to the 1 from the regular Kukiri sword. And then you've got the level 3 sword, the gilded sword, which actually does do 3 damage as opposed to the 2 from the razor sword. I've done the experiments, attacked a enemy that takes 3 swipes to kill from the regular Kukiri sword. I know what I'm talking about, viewers. And then the level 4 sword is the Great Fairy Sword, but that one is a non-default sword that you can have on your B button. Now then, we need to look for a snowball that is, there we go, a little bit bigger. You can basically figure out which one this guy is in by the bigness of the snowball. Hey. Yeah. Bitch, I never die. It's gonna make things kind of difficult for me if I fork over my sword right immediately now, because the sword does get removed from your B button until the very next day, or night, depending on when you put it into the blacksmith. You can't remember. And so we learn the beginning portion of the Goron's Lullaby. Now, actually, very soon I'm going to be able to do the things over in the Romani Ranch. In fact, just as soon as I get the item from this dungeon, I'll be able to go through the things from the Romani Ranch. And so with the Goron's Lullaby, I accidentally roll off the edge. Well, let's try this one again. Alright. By the way, the way you're supposed to know to pound in order to open this door is the Goron up on top of that ledge. If you talk to him, he'll pound the door and open it for you. And then you just know, oh, you just gotta pound in order to open the door. Which of course is a good thing. Alright. Wait, no. A right, left, A right, left. There we go. And I'm just going to have this as its standalone episode, because it's taken 20 minutes to do this, so may as well go on and just have it as a standalone episode, then record the dungeon, but it's going to still be on the same day cycle. I'm just going to have to do a temp save. And so we learn the Goron's lullaby. I gotta say, viewers, excluding 2 songs in the game, 3 technically, I absolutely love the soundtrack for this game. Every time I hear it, it just makes my hair stand on end like, oh, that's the stuff. And like the Goron lullaby would suggest, it puts Gorons to sleep. And like in Woodfall Temple, you need it to get into the next dungeon. Why? Well, since it's called the Goron's lullaby, y'all can only imagine. And then all the other Gorons are asleep. Okay, so now we've got another bit of thing that we need to do. Which is first I want to go on and get magic, and there is a reason that you may have noticed by now why they gave you Deku sticks. Well, time to use them. We gotta light every single candle. Which, with the bunny hood, is made a lot easier. Some people, even with the bunny hood, stop right when they light the first 2 candles to renew the Deku stick, but I don't do that. And where's the 3rd one? There it is. Managed to get every single one of them lit up, and that'll start rolling around. Where we can then get something special. First things first, we need to roll right on back up there. And I can get it in the first try. Damn, nope, not that one. Wow, did not mean to do that. There is something special we can pick up from those floating pots, and since I didn't get it the first try and accidentally rolled it into the store, I'm not going to get it the second try, so it's going to be my last try that I get it. See? Get it second time. So back up we go. This is made kind of annoying. Basically, yeah, as you can see, you gotta Super Goron roll in order to get enough height to hit it. Because, yeah, I just failed there. But yeah, you gotta Super Goron roll to get enough height to hit one of those pods. And if you get it down to the last one, it can be made extremely annoying to hit. So, alright, just speeding up this section until I get it. Got it! Finally. Yes, for going through that annoyance, what looks like a rock meat on a rock bone is dropped from the thing. And so let's run it on back. You don't have to do this, it just gets you another optional mask, but since I'm going 100%, I have to do this. Won't take too long though. Especially since this place is iced over, I can just walk across that ice lake. Most people just walk the long way around. Nope, I go across the ice lake. Because it's slightly shorter. Meaty meat! Now, before, and this is a definite before, viewers, but before I take care of going to the blacksmith and dropping off my sword, I will be going up to the next dungeon because I need the sword to unlock that owl statue. And you generally don't need your sword for the next dungeon. Toss the rock brisket up there. Rock sirloin. Tucks that up there, and he gets to his nosh. And for bringing him his rock sirloin, he then gives us the Donjiro mask. This mask is what's going to allow us to talk to the frogs. Those frogs that we saw laying about. Well, we can't actually use it to talk to those frogs for a little bit, because one of the frogs is in the third dungeon, which we have no access to at the moment. Careful of these falling rocks, viewers. It can actually knock you down while you're in mid-air. But I made it in the first go, so hot damn, that made things easy. Alright, so I'm gonna rush on back to Clocktown real quick to pick up one of those mini 100 rupee things. After, of course, activating this. This can only be activated with the sword. So, I'll go on and meet y'all over at the blacksmith after I pick up 100 rupees and filled a bottle with the spring water. Welcome back, viewers. I got my 100 rupees and a bottle of warm water. Sploosh, motherfucker. Sploosh. Okay, so if you have a bottle of warm water, you can do this one of 3 ways. You can either come in here with a bottle of warm water and speak to these guys. You can pour the warm water onto the furnace itself, or use the item from the second dungeon. Or you can use the item from the second dungeon on the outside and melt the ice on the chimney. Anyways, these guys' names are Zubora and Gubora. Or Gabora. Yes, Zubora Gabora. I don't know why they put a reference to the owl when the owl is already in the game. Well, we have hot water. Yeah, I've got hot water. You stupid motherfuckers. And then I freeze myself. Fine. You're supposed to be able to give it to them, but I'll just melt it myself. And so then we can talk to these guys. And he will offer to reforge our sword, and it'll be ready at sunrise. So up until the dawn of the second day, we will be without a sword. But I can do this dungeon without the sword. So I'm gonna go on and do it. And so viewers, I'll go on and just call it for the time being, because we got a dungeon to do. Back to Snowhead, baby. We'll see y'all next time for when we go to actually do said dungeon.